Welcome back to another tutorial in GIMP. In this video I'll be showing you how to recreate this 3D text effect. Now there's a few steps we need to take in order to recreate this effect. First we're going to need a background. Then of course we need some text. We'll make the text look a bit nicer with some better colors. And finally we're going to recreate the 3D text effect. Just like so. Here's how it's done. So let's get started on recreating this. First we want to make a new template. So we just go to File, New, and we're going to keep the same size, 1920 by 1080. There we go. Next we want to change our background. First I'm going to set up some guides so I can find the center of the page. So we go to Image, Guides, Guides by percent. I'm going to leave that on vertical and 50%, hit OK. We'll go back to Image, Guides, Guides by percent, and we'll change that one to horizontal now. There we go. Now we have the middle. So choosing our colors again, we wanted red for the foreground and yellow for the background so we can recreate this color. We're then going to go to our gradient tool, make sure our gradient tool is on radial, come to the center, and then we want to drag outwards. There we go, we have our background. So now, of course, we need some text. So we come over here to our text tool, drag out a nice big box, and change the color to black for now, and type whatever you want, but 3D and text. Let's make this much bigger, let's say 200. And there we go. So now we can go to our move tool and just make sure we have this centered, and we'll have it about there. Next I'm actually going to rotate it. Rotating the text will help with the 3D effect. So we go to our rotate tool, click, and we can just enter the amount of degrees we wanted, the angle we want rotated. So I'm going to go with -8, just a little rotation, hit rotate to confirm that, and there we go. Now to change the color of the text, what we want to do is we're going to come over to this section here where we have our text, 3D text, and we want to alt click on the text. Now what we want to do once we've selected the text is go to Paths, and we want to go to Selection to Path. What this does is essentially copies the path that we've made around the text, which we can then use in future layers or future effects. So we're going to go Control-Shift-A to deselect, and we're going to reselect it with Path to Selection. This can just clear up any of the edges that may have been a bit jagged before. So we're going to go back to Layers, and we're going to click here and right click to create a new layer. We're going to name this one Gradient and make sure it's filled with transparency. Beautiful. Okay, now that we've made the gradient layer, we want to make sure we're clicked on that, and we'll come to the gradient tool again, just like we did with the background. And again, using our guides, we're going to go to the center of the vertical one, and at the same angle we're just going to pull over there. So I've forgotten to change the colors, so we're going to go into the colors. I would like a blue and a red. So just in the same spot, we're going to pull out our gradient like that. So I think we had it the other way around. You can change the direction of the colors either by changing it here, or you can come over to the gradient tool and hit reverse. So we'll just hit reverse there and we'll go back to the center and drag outwards. There we go, perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the guides by going to Image, Guides, and remove all guides. And again, we can deselect the text with Control-Shift-A. And there we go, there we have the text. Now on to adding our 3D effect. What we want to do is we want to go over to our layers and we want to copy our gradient layer. So click on gradient layer and then right click, and we want to duplicate this layer. We're going to double click on that and we'll go call it 3D effect, and we're going to drag that one below the gradient layer. Now this 3D effect is fairly simple to implement. When we're clicked on the 3D effect layer, we just want to go to Filters, Light and Shadow, and Long Shadow. And there we go. At the moment, the color selected is blue. You can do any color you want, but we're going to use white. Hit OK. And now all we're going to do is change the length. We're going to bring that down to much further, bring it down to about 40, I'd say, maybe 35. And we can change the angle. Since our text is not slanted very much, I'm going to bring it down a bit, also to 35. Now, you can always play around with the style of the long shadow tool. At the moment we have it on finite, but for example if you go into fading, it gives this sort of effect, and you can do fading fixed length, which gives effect like that, but for the purpose of the video we'll just leave it on finite. Hit OK, and that's how you recreate a 3D text effect. If you're interested in more text effects in GIMP, be sure to check out my top 5 video linked at the end of this one. See you in the next one.